Look here, prime retail space for rent, 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 storefront for rent. All the storefronts here are empty now. They used to be bustling shops when they first opened, but now they're all for rent. In a country with a population of 1.4 billion, there's no one on the streets, no customers in the stores. Where has everyone gone? What are we going to do with our physical stores?
October saw a significant decline in the number of people shopping in the streets and an increase in the number of closed shops. The once bustling commercial centers and pedestrian streets are now nearly deserted. Even barbershops and vegetable markets are now empty. This has led many to wonder where all the people and money have gone. Have people stopped consuming altogether? Numerous small business owners who are still persevering in keeping their shops open are also voicing their difficulties, describing their business as bleak and barely sustainable. Many had hoped that with the end of the pandemic, the hard times would be over and there would be an opportunity to make up for the losses. However, it has now become clear that the pandemic was just the beginning of the difficulties. Workers are facing unemployment and salary cuts, while business owners are struggling with a lack of customers, resulting in not just an inability to earn money, but also significant financial losses. Moreover, with China's economy continuing to decline and the increasing economic decoupling between Western developed countries and China, the future may be even more challenging for the Chinese people. Walking around the Bund in Shanghai, I suddenly realized that a lot of shops have closed down. It's such a shame. It feels like many shops in Shanghai can't survive this year. The economy is continuously going downhill, and many physical stores can't compete with online shopping, leading them to close down. Why is this happening? I randomly interviewed a merchant here, and he told me he can't go on this year, mainly because the rent has increased again. But while the property prices for landlords have actually decreased, the rents keep rising. Additionally, with the current downgrading of consumption, many people are opting for the relatively cheaper option of online shopping, resulting in many shops having to shut down. This merchant said his turnover this year is only half of what it was last year, but his rent has increased by 50%. If he increases his prices, even fewer people will buy his products. So he's also decided to close down at the end of the year. Look around, there are so many abandoned storefronts everywhere, with no one taking over to continue the business. It's really a pity. Based on the situation of physical stores, as observed and reported by this woman, we can see just how severe the economic situation in Shanghai is this year. It is worth noting that during last year's pandemic, when Shanghai was under lockdown for several months and physical stores weren't able to operate normally, the revenue was still twice as high as this year's. Now, despite the end of the pandemic, businesses are facing an even more difficult economic downturn, withdrawal of foreign capital, and a general reduction in consumer spending. This has made it impossible for businesses. The Bund is one of Shanghai's key landmarks, serving as a financial and trade center for both the city and the entire country. It is a hub for numerous foreign enterprises and financial institutions, and one of the main residential areas for foreigners in Shanghai. In the past, the Bund was the picture of metropolitan prosperity. However, since the beginning of this year, not only have the foreigners who left Shanghai during the pandemic not returned, but even those who stayed are leaving due to various geopolitical reasons. The number of foreign tourists visiting Shanghai has also dwindled. Without these high-spending customers, physical stores have lost a crucial source of income. Coupled with a decrease in Chinese residents' consumption levels and the impact of e-commerce, it's no surprise brick-and-mortar stores are struggling. This trend is not unique to Shanghai. Stores are closing nationwide. Let's take a look at another important first-tier city, Guangzhou. Passing through the old town of Guangzhou on Nanhuaxi Road, it's a sight of utter desolation. All the shops along the street have shut down. Some have even been auctioned off. If you say it's because of the impact of e-commerce, I think that's a bit far-fetched in Guangzhou, because there's really no need to shop online here. It's much more cost-effective to buy things in person. It must be the expensive rents during the pandemic years that have made it impossible for many physical stores to survive. But while it's understandable that a few stores might close down, it's wild for an entire street to shut down. Physical stores are struggling, but in some places they're thriving. Nowadays, a large number of restaurants are closing down. However, fast food chains like KFC and McDonald's seem to be unaffected, with customers coming and going as usual.
Look at this KFC on the 11th level. It's still doing great business, still attracting so many customers willing to climb up all these steps to eat. And over here, the McDonald's is even more so, located on the 14th level. So it's not like having stairs means you can't do good business.
Guangzhou is a center for China's manufacturing and processing industries, and its clothing industry is also relatively developed. The Three Hongs wholesale market in Guangzhou serves as a distribution center for various types of clothing. However, it is now in decline. This is Guangzhou's garment district, 13 Hongs. The two busiest corridors on the 8th floor are now deserted. Many of the old manufacturers are located on the 8th and 10th floors. Coming here now, wow, it's really heartbreaking. You see, the original creators' factories used to be along this corridor on the 8th floor. They gathered here, and this should be the most expensive rent on the whole 8th floor, possibly over 200,000 yuan a month. Now it's all turned into warehouses like this. What happened to all those original creators in Guangzhou? Tell me, how can I sell all this stock in the warehouse? I look at these goods every day, and it really makes my head spin. Look at this section, all of this. Oh my goodness.
If all the physical stores close down, more people will be unemployed, and when people have no money, things will start to get chaotic. Right now, I'm inside a supermarket in Tianhe District, Guangzhou. This supermarket is quite famous in Guangzhou and has many branches. I won't mention the name of the supermarket here. In theory, this supermarket is in a great location, and there are many businesses nearby offering a one-stop solution for eating, drinking, and entertainment. But reality is cruel. Currently, many supermarkets in Guangzhou are in the same situation as this one, with more staff than customers. How did it come to this? With the rise of the internet and e-commerce, many physical stores are facing closure, and this trend seems to be increasing. The closure of physical stores not only leads to an increase in unemployment, but also has a certain impact on the overall economy. For example, logistics companies and suppliers will face difficulties in survival as more physical stores close down.
With consumers reducing their spending, people are not only buying fewer clothes, but also visiting supermarkets less frequently. However, people still need to eat, so why are fruit and vegetable wholesale markets and agricultural trade markets also in such a dire state? Here is the Jiangnan Fruit and Vegetable Wholesale Market in Guangzhou, which is the largest distribution center for agricultural products in South China. It also exports to Taiwan, Japan, and Southeast Asia. It's 8:30 in the morning, and the annual expenses for each stall here are over 1 million yuan. With this kind of market condition, bankruptcy is imminent. It will happen very soon. Even more surprisingly, the business of barbershops is also bleak. Could it be that people are even cutting back on haircuts? A young man who runs a barbershop in Shenzhen mentioned that since the beginning of October, the number of customers has noticeably decreased and he's losing money day after day.
Guys, this is tough. I don't know what's going on with the business in October. For more than a week now, almost 10 days, the daily revenues of the shop has only been a few hundred yuan, never exceeding 1,000 yuan, basically hovering around 400 to 500 yuan. It's really tough. Now, it's already 1 in the afternoon and we haven't made a single sale from morning until now. We made just over 300 yuan yesterday afternoon, and I have no idea how much we can make this afternoon. So far, it's 0. Let me show you outside. There are hardly any pedestrians on the street, just delivery riders on bikes. We set up chairs every day waiting for customers to come in, but no one does. It's really painful. The business has been going downhill every day since October. With a monthly rent of 9,000 yuan plus utilities, employees' salaries, the monthly cost is at least 30,000 yuan, which means we need a daily revenue of over 1,000 yuan just to cover the basic expenses. Now I'm operating at a loss every day. I've been sitting here all day and there's not a single customer.
A business owner in Beijing who sells cigarettes and alcohol also feels that his business is not as good as before. Winter hasn't even arrived yet, and those of us with physical stores are already shivering due to our plummeting revenue. I've watched videos from many peers, and they all say that their revenue in October has drastically decreased, with some even saying that they are losing money just paying rent. This gentleman, who has been in business for decades, expressed that he has never found business as difficult as it is this year, and he has no confidence in the future.
Have you noticed that business is getting worse and worse recently? Revenue is dropping day by day, and there are fewer and fewer people on the streets. Since October, after the Mid-Autumn Festival, business has been declining daily. Even during the festival, the revenue dropped by 50%, and we thought that was bad. But now it's even worse. Our current revenue has dropped by 80%. I stayed up until 3 a.m., and the revenue was only 547.5 yuan. How can we continue to do business like this? Just Just the rent cost 200 yuan per day. In the past, although business was sometimes bad, we had confidence that it would get better after a few days. But now, I have lost all confidence and business is not improving. As some netizens have said, it only gets worse, never better. I never imagined business would be this difficult this year. I've been in business since I was 15 and I've done all kinds of businesses, both profitable and unprofitable, but I've never encountered such difficulty before. Just now, 2 aunts came into the store wanting to buy Coca-Cola. They took it out of the fridge but then put it back. Nowadays, people are even reluctant to spend 3 yuan on a bottle of Coca-Cola. It shows that everyone is out of money. Moreover, have you noticed that there are fewer and fewer people on the streets? During the day, the streets are deserted and it's even worse at night. If this continues, we can only close the business.
Today is October 26th, and the revenue is heartbreaking, surpassing my psychological limit. It's already 7 p.m., and the revenue so far today is only 50 yuan. This business is driving me insane. I've been suffering from severe insomnia and have no appetite. I'm extremely distressed. In this situation, whether I continue or not, it feels wrong. The lease has 5 months left, and I'm wondering if I should renew it. Right now, I feel like I'm an ant on a hot pot, not knowing which way to turn, feeling utterly lost. The owner of a supermarket also shared in a video that October was the worst month for her business. Is the tide of store closures coming? I just saw a video of a clothing store owner whose revenue for the entire month of October was 1,459 yuan. That's for a whole month, not a day. Imagine that, even if all of that was profit, it would only be 1,459 yuan. You could earn several thousand yuan working somewhere else, not to mention the costs, rent, and utilities, right? Can you see if this business is still viable? Is it worth continuing? Currently, not just clothing stores, but supermarkets and restaurants are all in this situation. Some restaurant owners say that they wait around all day and sometimes end up with nothing. Sometimes they only make a few tens or hundreds of yuan a day. It's really like this. I don't know how your business was in October, but mine was really bad, and I don't know how much longer I can hold on. Currently, due to the downturn in China's real estate market, the industries related to it are also in a state of depression. This is a large lighting mall with 4 floors, and surprisingly, not a single customer can be seen.
Today, I went out for a walk and found that in this lighting store mall, on the entire 2nd floor, there are hardly any shops open. All of them have closed down. Can anyone tell me, is business good or bad for those doing business this year? Here at the elevator entrance, the shop is still open, but there are no customers. They are clearing out inventory, and this shop sells crystal lights. Look over here, they have closed down for good. What is going on? Let's go up to the 3rd floor and have a look. There's no one there either. Now it's 2:38 in the afternoon. Before, I saw comments saying that business this year is even worse than before the pandemic.
The feelings of these citizens are the most realistic reflection of the true state of China's economy. Even the economic data released by official sources is not optimistic. On October 27th, the National Bureau of Statistics of China released economic data showing that the total profits of industrial enterprises above a designated size nationwide decreased by 9% year-on-year in the first 9 months of the year. Industrial enterprises above a designated size refer to industrial legal entities with an annual main business income of 20 million yuan, $2.7 million or more. Of course, this does not include small businesses who run shops. This data indicates that both large enterprises and small physical stores are experiencing declining business. What's even more despairing is that this decline may only be the beginning. As more people come to realize this, they may become more reluctant to consume and more inclined to save money in preparation for the difficult times ahead. Without consumption, there's no hope for economic revitalization, creating a vicious cycle that could ultimately lead the economy into an even deeper abyss.
In the past few years, we didn't make money and said it was because of the pandemic, thinking it would get better once restrictions lifted. But this year, 2023, there are only 2 months left, and it seems even harder than last year. For those working jobs, it's hard to find work. For those running stores, it's like being widowed. For those in catering, it's basically a total loss. And for those in debt, it's only increasing. Thinking back on this journey, I'm really tired. Tired in body, mind, and soul. No one understands, no one to talk to, just an uncertain tomorrow and an unknown future.